hello, hello. That's working. Hello, hello. Hello. Yep, that's working. All right, you want to give me an audio check real quick?
Testing 1 2, testing 1 2. Hello, hello, hello.
All right, let's see how that goes. All right, you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Welcome to episode 362 of the Center Ring Esports podcast presented by Philly Esports. And this is going to be the best episode ever because we have a lot to catch up to as we took last week off in honor of the major coming up. So you got to listen to our preview if you didn't. But we have a packed e-news as well as Yikes of the Week as I share my story of what a wonderful weekend it was. And also, we will discuss the CSGO major thus far, as we've had some big teams eliminated and big teams moving on. So we'll discuss all that. But before we do, let me tell you about the show sponsor in Philly Esports. They are the best online tournament organizer for amateur esports and collegiate, if I might add, which I don't know, is collegiate esports amateur esports? Is that... They probably wouldn't say that because they would probably get in trouble if they called them amateurs.
But it's definitely like semi-pro league.
Yeah, I would say so.
It's not professional league, I wouldn't think.
No. I would not call you pro. Has the NCC gotten their grips on esports yet? That's really what I'm asking here. Either way, doesn't matter because PhillyEsports.gg is where you need to go, whether you are a college player or a not college player, because they're constantly hosting tournaments. In fact, if you were a college player for Valorant, hopefully you were aware of this. We mentioned it on the show. We tweeted out, retweeted it. If you're already following Philly Esports on Twitter, you would have known. But they are hosting a $10,000 prize pool 5v5 Valorant Collegiate tournament. It is starting up in just a couple of days, November 4th, sponsored by the U.S. Army. Completely free to register, $10,000 prize pool, $6,000 to the first place team. It was completely free. So hopefully if you're a collegiate player, you got your school involved, you got your team involved, your sign up. I know signups are completely full right now. So GG's to everyone involved. But you know what? Promise you it's not going to be the last time Philly Esports does something like this. So you need to go follow them on Twitter, Philly Esports, PhillyEsports.gg, and sign up for any tournament coming up here.
Hey, this is Jeff from the Overwatch team. You're here listening to the Center Ring.
Okay, so let's start.
Hello, everybody. Hello, and welcome. Welcome back to another edition of the Center Ring, aka TCR, aka your favorite esports podcast presented by Philly Esports. This is episode 362 coming to you live and or pre-recorded from an undisclosed location. The date, November 2nd, 2021, 9:10 p.m. Central Time. Early warning this weekend coming up, I believe Sunday morning, so Saturday night, depending on how you look at it. Falling back. Put those clocks back 1 hour.
It's like the worst. I don't know why we still do this.
But this is the good one. You gain an hour.
Yeah, but daylight is gone earlier, so
I'll say that's good.
Dark at like
No, sir. The darker, the better. I don't need... Daylight is overrated.
East Coast, it's like dark at 5 o'clock. That's so miserable. No wonder people are depressed in the winter.
No. I love it. We need more darkness.
The only thing it's good for is that one night of gaming where you get that extra hour back. That's the only good thing about it.
Nothing was worse than when I worked in radio, and I think it only happened to me once working overnights, because when you're new, you work overnights and you get that shift and you're like, nothing sucks more when you're running on no hours of sleep and you look up and you just see it go from 2 back to 1, and you get an hour of work added to your day for no reason. It was miserable. That's what I didn't like.
I don't think my kid's gonna understand it either, unfortunately. So I anticipate him.
That's true.
Waking up an hour earlier than he usually does.
That's true. Yeah, daylight saving time, or whatever it is, kids don't care. Kids don't care, but gamers do, because we do get an extra hour. So enjoy it. Enjoy it. Also means church hot season's in.
It is.
So for those
it's back.
long-time listeners of the show, November, I would say, is official start of church hot season. For those who don't know, that is when you look hotter.
October in the colder states.
Yes. In Texas, November, but I would say October, if you're in the colder states, it's when, for whatever reason, something about women, when you go to church on Sundays, which I don't go very often, but when I get forced to go by my wife, something about that fall attire that they wear to church, I would say it would probably take like it takes an average 7, probably to like an 8 or a 9. Definitely bumps them up.
8.5. You get a full number at least.
Yeah,
it's
at least.
When pumpkin spice lattes are available at Starbucks is when it's like, we know the groundhog showed his head. That's the time. Seasons are changing. People start to look a little bit better. This is just, it's the time of year that we all enjoy the most.
Less is more when it comes to fall, right? I don't know what it is, but it's just like the more layers.
If you don't go to church, hit up a nice brunch around like 12:30. You'll still get to see all that same action.
The post-church crowd.
The post-church crowd comes in, so you can still enjoy this regardless of your religious beliefs, I guess you could say.
Yeah, church hot is not exclusive to just church. It's just that's where it all begins, and then they filter out for sure. All right, follow us on Twitter at The Center Ring if you're not doing so already, and you will know whenever we have to be delayed a day, if we're skipping a week for the show, if we're streaming instead of doing a show. Sometimes we'll do that. Sometimes we'll game with listeners. New season of Valorant has either started or right around the corner, episode 3. So we'll probably open that game up again.
At some point, yeah.
To say we did. Apex, new season of Apex coming out. You got Battlefield coming out soon enough. Halo's coming out soon enough. So the chances of us being like, you know what, nothing's going on, because we're also hitting like the dead time of esports. Like it's just the holidays. Let's face it, it's the dead time of esports. Might be ditching some shows here and there for gaming time.
I think between what we're playing now in New World, Battlefield, and Halo, I can assure you there will at least be a show somewhere in there that turns into a streaming night.
Yeah, unless
probably on the release of both of those games.
I was gonna say, depending on when they release, like if they're releasing on like a Thursday or something, which I don't know exactly the dates. Well, Halo is what, December 12th, right?
15th.
15th. Okay, so if it's the 12th, it's a Sunday, so definitely not doing a show that Monday. If it's the 15th, it's the Wednesday.
Halo Infinite release date.
If it's
December
not
8th.
Oh, wow, we were both wrong.
Dang, it's a day after the Call of Duty release. Call of Duty
Call of Duty announced it that they're doing it the day before.
That's Chucky on their part.
So December 8th.
Price is Right, being that person that bids $1 over the next guy.
Well, I can promise you what game I'm not playing. So.
No, but it's just like, it's a little shitty to release that. Announce that a day before.
Of course. I would like to think Halo is going to outdo it, but you never know. Looking at MP, don't give me Warzone numbers, okay? Let's compare apples to apples here.
Oh, well, no, MP is not going to be comparable, but trust me, once the new Vanguard map releases... Yeah,
Warzone, that's different. That's Battle Royale, I admit, is a different animal. But give me MP numbers, and I would like to think Halo. I would like to think the first new Halo game in like 6 years, plus it being on PC and free to play, will outdo a rehashed, updated graphics of Call of Duty. that we
Call of Duty following is strong.
that we see every year.
I would like to think that too.
I know.
I would like to see how long.
The good side is the PC crowd has not adopted Call of Duty the way I thought it would. It did for a little bit. Again, not looking at Warzone. No, I'm looking at MP.
It's hard for me to think of Warzone separately because, like, I know when we're just talking about where we want the players to be, like they're going to be in Warzone.
I know.
Like, they're just going to be there.
I see, and I look at it separately because if you told me right now, hey, let's buy Vanguard because we're going to play MP, I would be down. But if you were like, yo, download Vanguard so we can play Warzone, I'd be like, I'm out. I'm not doing it. So I can look at them separately, but, I don't see color, Anuj. I don't see color. All right. So let's get into Yikes of the Week because I want to tell my story for those who don't have to suffer what I have suffered. I bared the cross for a lot of people this weekend, Anuj. If you follow me on Twitter, @PirateMushroom, if you're in our Discord, which you should always be in our Discord, I was talking to people in there of what's going on and why there wasn't a show yesterday. So, Thursday night, I flew out to California. It's my wife's best friend growing up. She's getting married, and it was like 3 hours out of LA. So you have to fly into LA, drive 3.5 hours, depending on what route you take to get there. So we fly in Thursday. Flight's delayed, as always. I just feel like it's impossible to leave anywhere on time nowadays anyways. So flight's delayed. We get into LA, at her friend's place, because we stayed there that first night. I don't know, 9, 10 o'clock, something like that. So too late, we couldn't really do anything. Not a big deal. Sleep. We went and got some food. Went to a place called Fat Burgers. I don't know if this is like a national chain. Have you ever heard of Fat Burgers before?
Was it good?
Delicious. I would recommend if I don't know if that's a chain or what, but it was pretty good. It was in LA.
I can never say no to a good burger. Burger, good burrito.
Also had a walk-up window to order from on the street, which I feel like if you're a restaurant and you have a walk-up window to order from, I'm instantly thinking you're good. Like
you have enough business to where you're comfortable doing that. You're in a good spot.
Yeah, if I can order your food by never going inside, perfect. Which is good because we forgot our masks because California is a little bit more strict on that than Texas and whatever. But so there's that. Fast forward, we drive out on Friday, 3.5 hour drive up the coast, beautiful. Drive through the mountains in California, terrifying but beautiful. Californians, shit drivers, just they are. And it's not even so much, I won't even blame them, Anuj, okay? And I know, like, we've talked about this, where when we go to visit cities, because we live in Dallas, Fort Worth, when we go to visit cities, we're always, like, coming home depressed because Dallas, Fort Worth is just not like other cities. It doesn't have character. It doesn't have charm. Nothing will make you appreciate Texas more than going to California. Let me tell you that right now.
I know you didn't have a good experience. I've enjoyed my visits there. For me, the weather, you know me, like that weather is like perfect. I feel most of the time. You got the beach, you got mountains.
The people are assholes. First of all, this whole stereotype of Californians being chill, that's a lie. Thank God I don't pay attention to anything, or I would have gotten into like 3 fistfights, one of them being with a cop. So, dude yelled at us for doing the crosswalk when it said it was our turn. My wife was like, "Oh, he just yelled at us." And I like turned around and I just stared into his soul. You know me.
Yeah.
I can't walk away. So, there's that. Anyways, wedding was beautiful. Great food. Not a lot of food, though. Had to hit the Mickey D's after the wedding. But beautiful. was a lesbian wedding, so I get to check that off my woke bingo card.
Cool.
Yeah, yep. Got to see them kiss. That was nice. Beautiful wedding though. A lot of good music, all that stuff. Wedding stuff. Fast forward to going home on Sunday, Halloween. We were like, let's get a flight. We can get home, go trick-or-treating with our kids. So we were supposed to get home at like 6 o'clock, which would have been perfect. Trick-or-treat, they go to bed at 8. Boom, done. Well, Anuj, if you opened up the news at all over the weekend, you would have seen American Airlines were canceling flights left and right.
1,500.
I think by the end of it, over 1,500, because they were canceling flights into Monday and even today, some flights. So it's been a mess. And this is also my preface to, I didn't watch any esports this weekend because I was in California and just driving, wedding stuff, and I was in an airport for more than 24 hours this weekend. We get to the airport, first off, driving 3 hours into the airport. So we drive 3 hours in, get there 45 minutes before boarding. Perfect. Get in, get on the plane, and go. About 10 minutes before boarding, they say, hey, going to be a little bit of a delay. We're waiting on some crew members. Whatever. 30 minutes go by. Still waiting on that crew member. We'll keep you guys updated. 15 minutes later, boom, flight canceled.
Crew member dead.
Crew member decides not to show up. And I think it was a pilot. They said first captain, whatever that is. Sounds like a pilot.
Yeah, it was like a pilot issue that they were having.
Right. So pilot is gone. No, doesn't show up. Flight's canceled. All of a sudden, like 3 terminals in that little area. If you've ever been to you were at LA, right? It's like the terminals are kind of notched out in their own area. 3 gates all start lining up for customer service. So they canceled like 3 or 4 flights all at the same time.
Yeah.
So I guess like pilots were in protest because of now you'll see on the news, American is saying it's because of weather.
The vaccine mandate.
They straight up told us it was the captain not showing up. So like, no, it's not weather. Literally, the dude just didn't show up. And look, I'll be the first to say, and I've mentioned on the show, I'm not like pro mandates of anything, right? It's just me. That being said, if you're a fucking pilot, you better get your ass to work. Because let me tell you what, the airline isn't losing anything, Anuj. The airline is going to sell their tickets. They're just going to give you, what you're affecting are the passengers who have no dog in this fight whatsoever, and they just need to get home to their kids. There were medical professionals on that flight who had to get home to see patients the next day. Like, other people got things going on. Just because you're upset that your job is making you get a shot, look, I understand you being upset. But what did you also expect when you have a job that requires you to fly cross-country, international? Like, bro.
In a tube with 150 people.
Like, you're not like I have a friend who has a work-from-home job, and they're forcing her to get the vaccine. Now, we're both vaccinated, right? So we're obviously pro-vaccine. But again, I don't judge. And I think, okay, well, that's a little silly. Your job's mandating things while you're working from home.
I judge a little bit. But...
Yeah, I mean, and to each their own. But my point is we were stuck in that airport, Anuj, all day Sunday, all day. We got there at 10 a.m. We didn't leave until 11 p.m. because they kept doing this thing where, all right, we stood in line at the terminal for an hour to talk to the people at the terminal. After an hour, this chick goes, sorry, shift is up. I'm going home. You can go wait in customer service line. That customer service line is like 4 hours long, wrapped around the terminal.
Lord.
So Morgan, my wife, goes to look at a gate. She gets us on a standby for the next flight out of Dallas. And then we'll figure everything out in between, like refunds, all that. So then this is why we're in there all day, because we're just going from flight to flight to flight on standby.
Yeah, and everybody's trying to do the same
But
thing.
everybody's doing that. Right. So long story short, we don't get on any standby flight. Another flight was canceled that we were going to get on. Meanwhile, other flights are getting canceled. So this customer service line is just getting longer and longer and longer. And at the end of the day, we just booked with a different airline, Southwest, the only flight available the next day. Every other airline was booked. Southwest had one flight and like 5 tickets left. If we didn't get those when we decided to get them, we would have been there a whole other day.
And like, it's not even like they're taking care of you. They're giving you a hotel room, but you're getting what, $12 a person per day?
American Airlines has the worst customer service. We each got a $12 food voucher, which if you've ever been to LAX, $6 is what a bottle of water will cost you. So that's not really a food voucher, $12
like water and Frito-Lay chips.
And on that note, we tried using it yesterday when we were flying out. Nowhere accepts it. Nowhere accepts these vouchers. So I don't know if they just give these to people to shut them up and then they're like, we don't have to worry about it because they're not going to sit in line for another 4 hours to argue with us. So we couldn't even use that. They put us up in a hotel, which a Courtyard Marriott, which I think are nice hotels, but these rooms were not nice. These are clearly like budget rooms that they have reserved for airline people because the room.
Courtyard Marriott is like a 3-star. It's like a very like average.
But I've been to Courtyard Marriotts. I mean, it's
it's like an average. Yeah, it's just like a typical hotel.
Right. But this room was not. This what I would say is a below typical room. So. It's not like a Four Seasons or anything, but still. So the hotel wasn't even nice. The worst part of all of this is our bag was shipped out because we checked in a bag. So
oh my God.
We only have the clothes that are on our backs. Thank God.
Well, wait, if the flight was canceled, why didn't they just bring your bags back out?
That's a good question, Anuch. That's a lovely question. I don't know. Because I guess the flight still has to get to Dallas to keep up with the schedule. So they just flew everyone's bag out anyways.
Who was on the plane?
I guess the one pilot that showed up. I don't know. I don't know how this works. All I'm telling you is that our bag was not there. And they were like, nope, it took off already. I was like, what?
Why didn't you take me with you?
Right. Like, I'm okay. Let me sign a waiver or something. I'm okay with one pilot. Like, I've played Microsoft Flight Simulator. I could probably at least push a few buttons if you tell me which ones to push. Like, I'll sit next to you. Like, it's okay. But no. So long story short, this is just a yikes of me bitching and moaning the fact that we were supposed to, it was such a domino effect. We missed our kids' Halloween. We didn't get to do the show yesterday. I didn't get to watch any esports because I was literally standing in lines all day.
And I took a hit for the team by watching a ton of esports.
Thank you. Thank you for bearing that cross. It's like my body is still so sore. The human body was not meant to have a backpack on for that long.
And our bodies in particular are not meant to be standing that long.
Right. Yeah. Human bodies were not meant to go through this much physical stress. Our bodies especially are not. So it was miserable. And we didn't get home yesterday until like 11 o'clock at night.
And here you are being a trooper doing this show today.
I mean, it's what we do.
I even
for the
text
listeners.
you. I was like, you want to do this today or you need a day? Like, you might need a day.
No.
Here we are.
It's for the listeners. I'm here for the listeners. But man, you're going to have to carry the esports side of things. Like I said, I watched a little bit, but.
Tim, if there's anybody out there that can do it worse than American Airlines, it's Blizzard.
Thank God Blizzard doesn't have an airlines.
They've managed to do it again. So they had their like quarterly reports and all that, giving all the information to the stockholders and whatnot. Turns out we have seen another delay on what games, you might ask. Specifically, Overwatch 2 and Diablo 4 are now delayed until potentially later next year. It's not really confirmed for 2022 yet. It could still fall into 2023 for both of these titles. That's just for Diablo 4, not as surprising. We knew that they're just behind on it. Like it's been pretty evident with the fact that we've had no information released on it. Overwatch 2, quite surprised to hear this. For those of you that don't remember, the pros are going to be playing on an early version of Overwatch 2 in this upcoming season. So you're saying they're going to be playing on like an early version pretty much the whole year without the game ever coming out during that season. So to me, that's just a little baffling. And how are these games not ready? Like, my only thing that I could think of, and I wrote this note down because it blew my mind. The only thing I could think of, Tim, is they don't give a shit. And the reason I say that is when you're making $1.2 billion with a B in just 3 months with microtransactions, what is your incentive
And that's
to
from
push
Call
out
of
another
Duty,
game?
right?
Mostly Call of
Yeah.
Duty, but there are other there's
I guess WoW and
that
the crates and stuff and whatever.
yeah, they had like, other games with different transactions in it, but still $1.2 billion over a 3-month period. They're holding steady, right? They haven't seen an increase in this number, but like think about the money in revenue that's coming in for them on basically rather than working on new IPs, just create a new skin. Like for Call of Duty, they did the Scream mask, and like how easy is that to go sell a pile of those versus sell a new game that may or may not flop? And I think all signs are pointing to maybe these games are not going to be as good as we were initially hoping. So it's another yikes in the Blizzard category. You hate to hear about delays, especially ones that have continuously happened. Um, you say you want to get the game in your hands when it's right, but to me, it's just I feel like they're not putting in the time to make it right. It's just ridiculous.
I have a hard time believing that these games are coming out later next year because in my mind, I already thought they were coming out later next year.
Yeah.
So the fact that you're saying that it's getting delayed to that point, like, bro, the vibe in the room was already it was going to be like a October, November release for some of these games. So yeah, I don't see that happening.
I don't see this as a 1 or 2 month pushback. Like I can
No.
see this being a holiday release somehow for 2023.
Yeah,
or
and
something.
I do wonder, like with the Overwatch League, like so your pro league where teams have invested millions of dollars in, are essentially alpha testing your game.
It's what it sounds like, right? Like for these owners, like what a devastating loss this has been to be invested in this league. Like I bet 100% of them would wish they could take it back at this point and put it into Call of Duty or something else, right? Anything
Anything.
else at
A
this point.
Rocket League team would be better at this
But
point.
yeah, for the pros to be playing on an early build that the public's never going to really get to touch next year, that's kind of sketchy to me.
I mean, at this point, the season's going to be completely played on that game and over before anyone can play. Like, and think about it. Any balance update to anything in that game will be solely based off of pro play.
That's it. Yeah. And look, maybe that ultimately makes for a better game when it's released, but the excitement of watching somebody play that game and then not be playing the same game yourself in your free time with your friends, right? If Overwatch is your thing, you're watching the pros play, then you want to go play, but you're playing Overwatch 1 on a game where they're probably
6v6
like
and different maps.
Everything is different. Like it's all different, right? Although there's a lot of similarities, it's still a different game. And
they're going to have to do like some emergency update for Overwatch 1 if this is the case. They just have figure out a way to make it as close as you can to 5v5 because there's no way. There is no way anyone is playing that game from watching the Pro League. Not a chance.
Because you're playing a different game. I mean, we complained about it with several other games, but this is a little unique where it's literally a different game.
Yeah.
It's like it's different when they ban different guns and they maybe have a different mode or something like that, but they are quite literally playing a different video game than you are. And so that's crazy. And Tim, I just want to throw this one out there as an additional Blizzard yikes. So back-to-back Blizzard ones. Jen O'Neill, she was the CEO with Mike Yarborough as kind of being in charge of the company. They brought her in to show some diversity. Obviously, she was also qualified to do the job, but to show some signs of solidarity at the top and leadership, having a man and a woman running the company together. She has already stepped down just a few months into this role. She is leaving to work on some passion projects. And
did she get pregnant?
No, I dare you to say that again. No, you know, so it's like she is like stepping
must have had her
down
period.
that quickly is also
No, it's not.
I don't. It gives
It's
off a bad signal, regardless of what she's leaving for. If it really is for a passion project, it's like you took a very big role,
yeah.
and like I'm in the IT consulting and hiring like industry, like taking a role like that and then leaving 6 months in is a really big deal. Like it's a devastating loss. Now, granted, they have somebody in play that will be able to run the company, but what signs of solidarity is it showing when half of
Right.
your leadership is stepping down?
No, she showed up to work. She read some reports, got a feel for the land, and said, "Yeah, this is a sinking ship, and I'm out." Like, this is
Well, and then it's like
not
at the
good.
same time they announce no strike policy basically for sexual harassment, and I'm like, wait a minute, what was your policy before? Like how many strikes were you giving?
We allow one boob grope, no ass play, and maybe a whistle here or there. But anything else, you're out. Now they're putting their foot down for sexual. Bro, every time I see something about Blizzard, I'm not even surprised anymore. I'm
No.
just not. I would be more surprised if Blizzard said, "Guess what, guys? We're gonna put everything in Overwatch 2 is gonna come out on time now." I would be more shocked about that than any other sexual assault news at this point.
It's crazy.
It's not a place you want to be. Not a place you want to be. But a place you do want to be, Anuj, is in CSGO right now, because we have gotten, 2 weeks now of pure major bliss as the Stockholm 2021 major is in full swing. We have had the challenger stage, the legend stage wrap up. We're going into the champions stage. Could also be called the championship stage because it is the top 8 teams that have qualified. So let's talk about what has happened. Heads up, no, I did not do a pickup. Okay, I'm standing strong with my fellow poor people. I will not fall into their traps of buying stickers for their entertainment. Also, I just forgot. So
I'm part of the 1%er stem, so I have done my pick'ems. I'm in a good place. I have passed the initial test of getting at least a minimum of 5 teams right. I did get 6 right, so 1 over. Headed into
not a big
championship
deal.
stage here, so hopefully we get that diamond coin. I've put my picks in, so I have to make those my predictions here on this show today for what I think will happen, so they're aligned with what I picked on there.
Looking at the teams, I would like to think I would be with you. Look, because we could just talk in general here, right? Unless you wanted to go stage by stage.
Well, I say let's skip challenger stage.
Well,
no offense to the challenger teams, but like we should just talk about the legend stage. That
did
just
anything
took place.
shock you with challenger other than big? But I don't know if that was necessarily a shock. Big getting knocked out, but every other team there looks to make sense.
Yeah, like
I think Copenhagen going 3-0.
Copenhagen doing what they did is only surprising because like they're still a newer team in that sense, right? So to go 3-0 and come out that easily, I thought they would advance.
Yeah,
but
I will say this just in general, because the challengers and the legend stage were both in the Swiss system, and now we're back into bracket play with champions. I'm reminded why the Swiss system is awesome and awful all at the same time, because you look at any team that's made it and you can always make an argument to that they had like an easy run. Like look at even just challenger stage, the 2-3-0 teams. FaZe played Spirit, ENCE, VP. Copenhagen played Astralis, Big, Heroic. Like, yeah, those ain't even, bro.
No, they're not, but it's like some teams lost to teams that they shouldn't have that caused those to happen, right? So like Astralis losing to Copenhagen Flames in the first matchup, like that's an Astralis issue. Like they're favored to win, so regardless they have device or not, that's on them. They need to like pull that match out. You had several of those instances that actually took place like kind of early on, right? Because then Astralis again lost to Entropic. So they play in a different match than they probably should have because they were not projected to win those games. And so I really enjoy this system. I honestly
I enjoy, like I said, yeah, I hate it and love it, which I think is the where you want to be, right? Like you want to have this controversial of, well, this person had the easier run, and like how you said, well, yeah, but they kind of had the easier run because they put themselves there, right? Like you won the match, so then you get to kind of, I don't know, have it catered a little bit to you.
Big and Spirit were probably the biggest surprises not making it. And like I think FaZe going 3-0 was also a little bit of a surprise because you never know what you're getting with them, but they played well. Everybody else, we kind of, you could kind of see those 8 teams there for the most part, right? Nothing too surprising. I thought the Legend stage gave us like a lot of great matches and really highlighted some teams that don't get to showcase their skills all the time, right? That you don't see on the big stage or that we've kind of overlooked because of COVID and maybe don't give them the credit they deserve. I think Copenhagen did that again, although they didn't advance through this stage. They played in the 2-2 matchup against NIP today, and it was one of the best BO3s I have seen. I mean, you talk about pressure on the line and that type of game where NIP is fighting to be the only home, Swedish-based team in the arena. Had they not made it, that would have been quite devastating, I feel, for not only the fans, but for NIP. That would have been the most expensive $1 million buyout to not make Legend stage, and
with
championship stage. So
device. Go back if you haven't. It was one of the few matches because it was today, so I got to watch some of it. The NIP Copenhagen overtime on Ancient. Like just watch the overtime. Like you could start where you said, like where NIP kind of dropped the balls like 5 rounds in a row, right? You can see how they got to overtime, but that overtime, Device had some nutty op shots. You had so many people on NIP come up clutch at moments to where like it really kind of, I mean, obviously
the last 7-8 rounds of even regulation were some of the most thrilling rounds because NIP really showed that you can play well on T side. They were able to take the bomb sites really with ease for the most part on Ancient, which you don't see happen that often. Their issue was not being able to control the retake. Copenhagen came in with some incredible retakes, and it happened like 4 or 5 rounds in a row where you had even numbers going into a post-plant scenario, and Copenhagen was able to break through with some incredible shots, and really one of the better matchups of this event. And like major props go out to Copenhagen because that is a team that can compete on the biggest stage, can compete at the highest level. And although they probably don't realize it now, that they've definitely created a fan base and a name for themselves, right? So props to them. And another big matchup today, Tim, the VP FaZe matchup. These are all 3 of today's games were elimination matches. Win and advance, lose, go home. And so this was another one with, you talk about what's on the line, like Kerrigan just trying to get that one trophy under his belt, right? And to fall short against VP had several key things, right? You had Olaf, who is not getting a chance to participate in a champion stage, on the big stage, along with some of the other people that he's done it with almost every time. Twist was the last NA player in the field, getting eliminated in that matchup. So there's nobody from NA, playing in champion stage, unfortunately. But that was also an incredible BO3 that went the distance. It looked like it really could have gone either way, but VP was able to do it under some unusual circumstances, Tim, because we didn't get a chance to talk about this. VP made a roster swap. When I say right before the major, I mean right before the major. They dropped Sanji. They picked up, I think it's Flit, if I'm pronouncing that right. Flit.
Sure.
Maybe, yeah, Flit. We'll go with that. Picked him up and did a roster swap. It caused their seeding to kind of change, which caused some controversy a little bit of how the hell is that even allowed, right before a major.
I will say this on that note. there were a few changes. Like they changed the format a little bit from tiebreakers. Guys, we had 2 years to do this major. You had 2 years to figure out this isn't the first major either. We can't be making format changes based off of public opinion, or like you can't let, like, once the rosters are locked, they're locked. And if you have to make roster moves, that's fine, but you keep your seed.
Yeah, it shouldn't affect your seed, because that changes the matchups for everybody.
Like you're talking like weeks without matches. Teams are watching film and planning around a certain team, and then a couple days before the major, you switch it up because of a roster move. Like, how is this even?
It just feels weird. Like,
yeah,
it feels wrong.
Like you
right?
say it out loud and it doesn't even sound right. So
yeah.
it shouldn't even be a thing.
Tim, our 4-time champions in Astralis have fallen. They will not be playing on the stage here, unfortunately. Sad to see, but like the teams that are ahead of them in this grouping deserved it more. Like they genuinely played better. Astralis had some moments in this event, but they did fall short 1-3. They could never. I mean, they really could just never find their groove. They had a hard time finding consistency. They would win one, lose one. In this case, they lost their first two and had to kind of claw their way back in. They did that in Challenger stage as well, losing the first two and having to win 3 in a row. But tough for them. You feel for those guys. They fought their asses off, but obviously it just wasn't enough. And you kind of wonder, is this the last time that we see this group together? We know Bubsky, or not Bubsky, we know Zipnix is returning, we know Glaive is returning, but that's really all we have as far as what you could say is the future of Astralis kind of confirmed. I think Magisk and Dupree are very much so up in the air on where they end up and where they end up going. Lucky also, I feel like, has not secured his spot necessarily, so it'll be interesting to see, but sad to see them fall, and I was hoping for them to make the stage at least, and maybe fall short there, but a little early, a little disappointing. It just sucks for them, but it's not surprising. You make roster changes right before babies, like everything. It's not surprising.
And I am happy with the teams that we do have. Like, yeah, G2 going 3-0. I know we have a bunch of listeners that are G2 fans, and I think just in general, even if you're not a fan of G2, everyone knows like G2's curse, right? They just constantly pull a G2. Like they were either going 0-3 or 3-0. Like that's how G2 plays. There is no in between.
And I said it on our preview show. If they just catch momentum at the right time, they're one of the most deadly teams in the field. Like there's no doubting that, and we're seeing that. Nico playing at the level that he's playing at. Granted, they didn't have the toughest route to getting in. They played in Tropic. Again, I don't put this on G2, but they played FaZe. They beat Copenhagen. I mean, these are very good teams, but it's not like they had maybe the juggernaut route that we saw NiP have to play through, playing Navi, playing Gambit, and then having to end up playing Copenhagen just to
Well, I mean, you can even just compare the 3-0s, right? So G2 and Navi both went 3-0. G2's 3 teams that they beat were all eventually eliminated. Navi's all eventually made it through. So like right there, it tells you like, okay, well, you clearly, those are very different skill. I don't think big enough to complain.
Well, Mouse didn't make it through, but yeah, like the Navi still had a tougher road.
Navi played Heroic, VP, and NiP.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Right. So all 3 ended up eventually making it. So the teams that did not make it, though, the only 2 legend teams going into this event that were legends that did not make it in Uj were the NA teams.
And Evil Geniuses was no surprise. Like as part of my pick'ems, I got my 3-0 and my 0-3 right. I thought those were easy, right? You lock in Navi at your 3-0, lock in EG at your 0-3, and you kind of had 2 of the 5 right there. OG or EG, not surprising. Liquid, I don't want to say I was surprised. I did have them advancing, but partially because that's my NA fandom wanting to see one NA team,
of course,
go through. But I mean, they also haven't shown anything to really make you believe that they were going to be ready to play in this event. Like Stewie looked pretty awful, honestly, in his games and his results for this team. Um, they were without Adren, as we know, in this. They didn't look right, and it's unfortunate because that was really the only team that had somewhat of a chance to make a run on the NA side, but with them bouncing, we're left hopeless over here as NA fans.
Do you think by the time the next major is, which I have no idea when that is, could be May, could be next November, who knows? Do you think by the next major, though, is it possible that we see both of these orgs, Liquid and EG, out of Counter-Strike? Like with the trend where NA is going, with the trend that these teams are going, like I don't know if they have it in them to want to rebuild for NACS.
I think it more depends on what the players want to do, right? Like, are these guys going to stick with it themselves? Like, I don't know what Liquid would change to give them a better chance. Like, who are they adding right now from NA side to be like, oh, this is like gonna make us better? Like, who are they gonna bring Twist back all of a sudden? Like that's probably one of the few best players remaining out there, and that's obviously not happening. So I wouldn't. I want to believe that Liquid would not withdraw from CS:GO. I would like to think we will see Cloud9, with all the teasing that they've been doing recently, kind of rejoin the ranks of CS:GO. I could see maybe Complexity, after the fact that they've dropped their whole roster, maybe trying to make an NA roster instead of competing in EU. Like, why make it hard on yourself if you can take an NA spot? Like, maybe there could be a little bit of a rebirth, but it's not going to be fast for NA. So
Right.
my gut tells me no, they all just don't drop out. Like, that seems like it'd be devastating. Like, it would really be devastating to lose what we have remaining, but it's going to be hard to rebuild, and it's going to be hard to compete, Tim, because from what we saw this weekend, there is so much good young talent in Counter-Strike right now. It's just not in NA, it is what it is, but the game is in a very healthy state. I mean, just watching teams like Virtus Pro this week, like Yikinder continues to show himself as like an elite level player. You see it happening on Gambit with Shiro, another just young and up and coming like phenom out there, and then obviously you have your goats and your simple devices and Nikos. Like, these guys are all playing at such a high level. Zaiwu, another one of them. It's like the teams that qualified really deserve to be there and genuinely look like the best teams in this event.
Yeah, absolutely. So looking at the champion stage, like I said, we have bracket play is back, single elimination. I believe everything is a best of 3 except for the finals. Is that right?
Is finals not best of 3? I thought finals was best
Are they
of 3
best of
too.
3? I just assume all matches are best of 3, including the finals, it looks like. Okay, perfect. So everything is a best of 3, single elimination right off the bat, and we don't have to go match by match. We can do predictions. But right off the bat, I did want to highlight this. Na'Vi Vitality. What a juicy match. Even though Vitality was the last seed coming into champs, like, I don't buy that. Like, I don't buy them being the last seed. So I do love the fact that I am so confident. Like, if I did pick'ems, I said it on the show, Na'Vi is my pick to win. The year of Simple is still full steam ahead. But I really would have appreciated not playing Vitality first round.
Like, really, really would not have wanted them first round, just because they also had to claw their way back in. They've had to play a lot of CS to get to this point. You have, anytime you can get onto a server and have somebody that can combat Simple, right? In the sense of, like, what you're going to do, we have somebody that can do it just as well. That's a scary thought, because you really got to rely on the rest of the guys to pull their weight to bump you over the edge, right? And I think with Na'Vi, they're going to have the ability to do that, but damn, what a juicy matchup. I mean, this is like number 1 and number 3 in the world, basically going head to head in a first round quarterfinals matchup. Like, very unfortunate for Na'Vi. because they're also on the same side of the bracket as Gambit. You know, like you have 1, 3, and 4 all on the same side of the bracket there, and I don't know how I feel about that, but it is, they're gonna have to go through the gauntlet to get this championship, and I'm okay with that. I think they were gonna have to do it anyway somehow. So it is a tough first round matchup.
Yeah.
I did lock in my pick'ems too. So like I said, I do have.
All right, so let's do then just predictions.
I got Navi.
Tell me how are the pick'ems working? Because then I could just
the same way you see it, right? If you're looking at the champion stage
okay,
bracket,
so it's literally picking the bracket for pick'ems.
Yep, you pick the bracket down. So I'm just gonna give you a quick rundown of mine. Navi over Vitality.
Agreed.
Gambit over Furia.
Okay. Yep.
I got G2 over Nip.
Okay.
And then I got Heroic over VP.
Oh, that's where I would flip. I would go VP over Heroic.
I was a little bit back and forth on that one. That one, the bottom bracket, I thought in general was tough. G2 and Nip, I found to be kind of tough because Nip's going to have the home team advantage there. And then the Heroic VP matchup, I'm giving the edge to Heroic because I'm going to say Cadian's leadership might be enough to like push them over the top,
Right.
but that is like a 50-50 matchup. I have Navi then beating Gambit in the semis. I have G2 beating Heroic in the semis. And then I have Navi beating G2 in the finals.
Eventually, G2's going to pull a G2. Like, although G2 is good, they haven't shown me consistency throughout this roster's lifespan, and most recently coming into this to be like, oh, major winner. So I do think eventually they will pull a G2. It might be before the grand finals. It might even be during that NIP match. Like, it would not shock me to see them just blow it during NIP. But either way, yeah, I still take Navi. Regardless of who they're playing in the finals, I'll take Navi. Mainly because I've been on this Navi bandwagon since like June. So I just have to stick with it at this point. But I just think it's the year of Simple. I think the stars are aligning for him.
The amount of people that are rooting for this to happen, it's kind of insane, right? Like everybody believes it's Simple's to take, which makes me think it's not going to happen. Honestly,
Right.
Like I'm just a pessimist that way. But I do hope he gets his first one. I mean, it is. I'm not going to say it's set up for him to win it. I maybe believe that a little bit more so going into it, but now looking at how
The brackets are rough.
bracket is like laid out, it's not a given that they get this, and so they're really gonna have to earn it. And
if I had to power rank teams to win, Navi #1 power rank, I would like to see them win. Then I would say Virtus Pro #2, just because they didn't give up on Counter-Strike as an org. They had every excuse to give up on Counter-Strike, and they didn't. They came in with a stronger well, I don't want to say stronger, but they worked at it, right? Like, they lost that Polish squad, which was a top 10 in the world, that just fizzled out miserably. Like those guys just gave up. Let's call it what it is. Virtus Pro had every excuse to back out. They didn't, so I'd want to see them win a major. NIP, it's a home team. Come on. It's a home team. It's NIP. They're likable. I would like to see them win. After that, it can go wherever.
Yeah, I mean, VP to me would be a long shot to win it.
Emotionally, I'm saying.
Oh, okay.
They're my power rankings. Yeah. Emotionally, I want them to win.
I mean, VP has a soft spot in any CSGO head's like mind, right? Like if you followed CSGO for any amount of time, a VP's got a soft spot in most people's hearts. And yeah, I think for the most part, people feel that way about NIP, right?
Yeah.
Like it's just one of those teams that you've been accustomed to probably rooting for them most of the time. Fnatic always felt like the villain to me, where NIP kind of felt like the good guy, right? Maybe it's because they fielded the older team or whatever, but would be cool to see the home team advance. I didn't have faith in picking them in that first matchup. They just, they really struggled against Copenhagen, although Copenhagen played an amazing match. I just think that mentally probably took a lot out of them. And now here we are. We do have the matches, like we said, already lined up. Thursday, the 4th, you will start off the day with Heroic VP and finish it with G2 and NIP. And then Friday, you'll have Gambit Furia, and then that day with Navi Vitality. So Friday, everyone get off work a little bit early, get your popcorn ready because that's going to be one you don't want to miss. With the finals being or semifinals being Saturday and championships Sunday, as always on the 7th.
1300 CT. 1 o'clock.
It's 1 o'clock Central, so
right.
Go with that.
Do the math for your time zone.
Yeah.
So beautiful, setting up for a beautiful weekend of Counter-Strike. All right, so let's get into some e-news as we'll run through some of this as we have a lot to get to. In CS, Floppy goes back to CS and joins Extra Salt. So Floppy flip-flopping back to CS. Extra Salt. An org that, how did that go? Did Cloud9 sign? Extra Salt signed Cloud9's roster, and they did like a little uptick after signing with Extra Salt. Isn't that how it went?
Yeah, they played really well with Extra Salt.
Yeah. So Floppy is back. Where did he go? Was he with Cloud9's roster with Valorant?
I don't know. I honestly don't even know.
I can't say I'm a historian on Floppy's movements, but I think that might be correct. Blamef, however you want to say his name. I've heard it every which way. JKS and S-Tag have all been moved to the inactive roster for Complexity. Shocking and not shocking. Complexity seems like an org they don't really know what they want to do right now with their CS roster. It didn't really pan out the way they wanted to. Jason Lake whipped out his dick and said, here it is. And everyone just kind of said, okay. So we'll see. We'll see.
I would like for them to come back into NA, but
yeah, we'll discuss this in a later week because I like I like where your mind's going, where we need to make NACS great again. And you do that by building it out through NA. And that's how it started. That's where NA, we started off being all NA players within NA. And then when we went international, sure, some teams struggled and it became kind of a joke, but at least it was NA, right? Like
it got better, right? We got a major out of it. Like, it's not like we couldn't compete, but if you're not building in your own region, like if all your teams that are considered NA teams are now going to EU, this is partially their fault too.
Right.
Like
you decided to move over to the better region, and you still aren't the better team in that region.
What is Complexity doing holding an EU team? They're here in Dallas. Like, come on.
Yeah.
Find local, not local in the sense Dallas players, but
or maybe I know two players right here.
Right. I mean, I think they all have to contribute to bringing NACS back, and that includes Cloud9. Honestly, that probably to an extent even includes TSM. Like, they can all help and bring this back if they choose to.
Agreed. There's some blame on the orgs for having NACS die. It wasn't completely on the players. And, yes, EU's always been better, but that's always been the case. So,
yeah, it's not new information.
No, it's not breaking news, right? We know that. In Overwatch, Cole Cassidy is the new name for McCree. Cole Cassidy. Now, I've heard
a little porn star-ish. Doesn't it?
That's probably not the direction they need to go with it right now, but you're absolutely right. Like,
you know what? It's probably good for Overwatch porn.
Stepmom and Cole Cassidy. Cole Cassidy with his stepmom. Yeah, definitely a porn name. Definitely a porn. I get it, the play on word, because I would assume this is the play on word because Ash in the game, the female, is ex-lovers with now Cole. Ash and Cole. Fire. Maybe that was the play on words. Either way, Jesse McCree was still a better cowboy name. I'm just going to come out and say it. Sexual assault, be damned. Jesse McCree was a better cowboy name. But you got to do what you got to do. Jonak joins Seoul Dynasty. So he was a free agent for a hot minute there. Rookie of the Year, Season 1. Found a home with Seoul Dynasty back in Korea. So that's fitting. In Valorant, Brax announces... Brax, well, I actually missed this news. I'm glad I get to see this for the first time. Brax announces his retirement from esports.
I mean, and he said he's going to go to content creation, but it's like...
Well, good luck.
He never really did that before, so...
His personality doesn't scream content creation to me.
No, like, I mean, maybe that's just something you say, you know, on your way out. But, you know, sad because it never, it was always what could have been.
Right.
You know, and that's kind of the story of Brax, unfortunately.
Yeah. Valorant patch incoming, big nerf to the classic. They're adjusting movement damage all throughout the game. Like we said, new episode coming out. This
new character coming out called Chamber. There's a lot of updates to the map Fracture because that'll be getting added to the map pool. So should be a pretty big update. We'll go over some of these patch notes when they actually release them, but some big updates coming to the game here.
Cloud9 took the LCQ spot over Rise Nation 3-0s in the final. So we see Cloud9 Blue, to be more specific, in the champs. As a Cloud9 fanboy, not surprised. As an esport expert, a little bit surprised.
Yeah, I mean, I think everyone just thought it would be, you know, 100 Thieves, and they fell short. And 100 Thieves, I think, kind of did it to themselves by replacing Steel so late into.
Why
to
would
me,
you do
that
that?
just seemed like a dumb move. Like, why would you do that right before your biggest event? You know, to try and qualify here, they fell short in the lower finals to Cloud9, and then Cloud9 swept Rise in the uppers 3-0. But look, this Cloud9 team is basically like a CSGO roster, right? With Zeppa, Leaf, Vanity. I mean, all of these guys are former Cloud.
It's good to see, right? Because they obviously had tens at one point. Cloud9 Blue was a hell of a good roster, kind of fell off. People thought maybe they're dead on arrival. So it's good to see them back. Like you said, 100 Thieves, you kind of deserve it. You got, I don't know if they got cocky. They thought they were one move away, dropped Steel at the last minute. Maybe there was roster turmoil on the inside, but you play with the hand that you're dealt at this point.
Just really dumb timing.
Finish it out. Like, yeah, you don't, because at least then you would have lost with your roster that got you there, and then you make the move. At this point, now you're asking what if, right? Now the what ifs come out. So
well, and now not only what if, it's like what next?
Yeah, right. So now you made this roster move, and you lost out on your biggest chances of getting into the biggest tournament thus far. So, like,
you have a long time to think about it. That's the good news.
Yeah. In other Valorant news, FaZe Clan release Baby J, and Nip drops their European Valorant roster to go over to Brazil.
Yeah, kind of an odd change, right? It feels like. For Nip.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Hold on.
Tim, you're never wrong. You're an esports connoisseur.
That is right. That is right. I want to. Home run. I am right. Nip also has a Brazilian Rainbow Six team. So they're not.
Okay.
You know, it's not completely.
They got some operations.
Right.
Yeah.
So they're not completely new to the region, carrying over that fandom. So at least that connection does make sense to pick up in Brazil. In Call of Duty, we didn't get a chance to talk about this, even though it's been rumored. We discussed the rumor of it. Crim 6 officially signs with Subliners, joining former teammate and my personal best friend, Clayster. So that is looking like a nice roster, at least an early favorite maybe on paper, right? Obviously, they won in Dallas.
Definitely a team that you have to watch out for now because you saw them win a championship last time they were together, and you have to see if the subs will pull their weight the same way that you had Shotzi and then, you know, doing that with Empire. But definitely an exciting signing. I love the combination. I love them playing together, and that was fun for us as Empire fans at the time. So I'm rooting for them. I'm excited to see that lineup.
And hold on. In other Call of Duty news, the Empire branding is basically dead. So I don't know if you've seen this. It's been the rumored release. Nothing has been official. I think we're gonna hear this weekend, if I am reading the room correctly. But the rumors of the Optic Envy merger is almost coming to an end. We're seeing supposed registered branding, which is essentially killing off the Empire brand.
Yep.
Bad look, in my opinion. They're the ones who won the championship. It's basically the Optic O with a star, obviously being Dallas, Texas. You got to have a star. That's just an unwritten rule. You know, we've already said our pieces on this 1,000 times. I don't like the fact that it's like they're buying Optic but bending the knee to the brand. Like if I were Hastro, I would buy that, make Optic branded toilet paper, and then wipe my ass with it, and then tell Hex, thanks for the brand, bitch. I'm taking Empire. That's just me. That's just what I would do. That's just one man's opinion. I understand.
I get not wanting to lose the Optic brand. I hate the way that it's being done.
Right. Like
it is what it is.
Yeah.
And now you have Chicago's spot up in turmoil because Washington pulled out of the bidding, and that leaves NRG with that slot still, but they don't seem to want to have that slot. So are you going to play with an 11-team league next year, or are you going to force NRG to hold a team? Like,
are you willing to put that much of a discount on the league to get someone to take that spot, and then almost do like a back end payment if you want that money back? Because the issue is like with the stain that's Blizzard at the moment, like I don't know how many people are just going to jump on board.
Yeah, I mean, I think they could find some teams, right? Like a Rise comes to mind, a EU comes to mind. Like there are some Call of Duty franchises out there that I'm sure would love to be in it, but it's like, at what price tag?
Right. That's the issue. It's the price tag to get in. So there's that. So we'll see. I think though this weekend we will have the announcement of the Optic Empire merger, because this weekend Anuj and I will be at the grand opening of was it Beyond Land Center up in Grapevine? Is that what that place is called? Beyond? I could be wrong. They're opening up a new land center though in Grapevine Mills, which is down the street from us. We'll be there for a little bit this weekend. We were invited, but Envy, part owner of all these places, are sending players out there to do player interviews. Ownership will be out there. They'll be selling merch. Well, Anuj, wouldn't make much sense to do a grand opening selling your merch if you're just about to trash the Empire brand. Unless
maybe it's all discounted merch.
Unless they're just trying to clean out their closet, but that'd be a real dick move doing that, and then in a week later saying, by the way, Empire's dead, here's Dallas Optic. So I think they're going to announce it at this grand opening and then sell the merch at the opening. That's just me using my brain. So we'll see. In other news, League of Legends, DWG, which is Daiwan Gaming versus Edward Gaming, is in the world's finals. Cloud9 got top 5, so that's a win for NA. Like I would assume we just won it. Yergsen leaves TSM and will test the free agent market after announcing his return to League. We got to get Kevin on the show after Worlds, because
once Worlds finishes up, we'll grab him back.
I have questions on that one. Wasn't this the guy who announced his retirement?
He just announced his retirement at the end of last season.
Came back,
and
now wants to test the free.
Well, yeah, he didn't come back to TSM. He announced that he's coming back, and then did not re-sign with TSM at that point. Okay. And so, and you have Reckles leaving Fnatic. So some big things are going on that we need somebody like Kevin in here to talk about.
In FGC news, Warner Brothers is reportedly announcing, or I mean, it's not really reporting now at this point. It's out there. We've seen leaked screenshots, but they are developing their own Smash-style platformer game with Warner Brother licensed characters. So you're going to see Batman, Superman, Lord of the Rings people, Tom and Jerry, Rick and Morty, Bugs Bunny, all the Looney Tunes. Even people are saying LeBron James, because he's a licensed Warner Brother character because of Space. Think of Space Jam, and anyone you saw in that movie could be in this game.
Oh wait, you didn't watch that? The new one?
The new one, which was terrible. But
I got about 20 minutes in.
Oh, I powered through. I say I powered through. I watched it in chunks over a span of a week. Whew, that's a bad movie.
Yeah,
that is a bad. Not even just being a favorite to Michael Jordan. It's just a bad movie. It's just a bad movie.
I could tell very early on. I was like, oh, no.
It was bad.
Just live with the old memories.
Yeah. But either way, you know what? If these games are taken serious, I'm excited. This seems like a money grab. We'll see. If they're taken serious, this screams to me free demo in a cereal box back in the 90s, right?
I returned my Nickelodeon game. Didn't open it.
But even a lot of people are saying that's at least fun. It's just we don't play it, right?
Yeah, I was like, you know what? If I'm gonna play this, I'll just get it when I'm actually going to
on
play
sale
it,
or something, or maybe if we go to DreamHack and we all want to play it, so we'll convince each other.
That's funny.
Right, whenever that happens again, if ever. So anyways, there's that. In other news, you have it's official on Steam, God of War is coming to PC, so it's pretty much also confirming all those leaked PlayStation games that were coming to PC. God of War, Uncharted, Spider-Man, all these PlayStation exclusives are coming to PC, so
Pretty cool.
Win-win for everyone. PAX South has officially come to an end, as they say, for the foreforeseeable future, which is basically code for it's done. They didn't say exactly why, but I mean, obviously COVID, cost concerns, things like that. I actually went to the very first PAX South. It was awesome. It's in San Antonio, right on the River Walk, because that's where their convention center is. Awesome event. I will say, though, for a yearly event, San Antonio probably is not the choice you'd want to do if you were hosting a PAX
like
South.
Austin or something.
Austin or Dallas, like any of those two cities makes more sense for people to get to. If you want the Metroplex of DFW or what is now becoming the Mecca of Austin, like San Antonio just ain't it. So
no, not
I saw some people arguing it's like, well, it's because Texas and their COVID rules. That shit ain't it. Like, stop trying to make a narrative of what it is. Like, we're in America here, people. Okay, they're hosting football stadiums with 100,000 people in it. They're not worried about the crowds. It's a financial thing.
At PAX.
Right. Yeah. Right. So no, not it. Age of Empire 4 released free on Microsoft Game Pass. Have you played it yet?
Haven't played it, but I have it downloaded, so I am ready to play it, but just got to find some time between.
All right, I'll
download
this
weekend sometime.
I'll download it myself.
I have downloaded it, so I'm ready to go.
Cowboy Bebop officially season 1, the only season for Cowboy Bebop's on Netflix now. So if for those who haven't watched the anime, Anuj, it's dubbed, it's English. You go watch it on anime. But they did release the trailer for the movie, or not the real trailer for the movie. I've come around.
Looks okay.
It actually looks pretty, obviously anime campiness to it, but I would say overall, I'm in. I'm excited now. Where before,
like if they filmed it the same way they did anime, it would have to be X-rated.
Yeah, no, it's at least a little looks. I mean, they covered up some cleavage for Faye and stuff, but you know what? I was completely ready to throw this thing off the cliff, but it doesn't look bad. And FaZe Clan goes public, so I don't know when they go public. If they already
went public.
They already went public. So if you ever wanted to phase
I'm already
up,
a part owner, so phase up, Tim.
Phase up,
baby.
Phase up.
Maybe. I decided to throw in $100, see where it went.
What's their
down the
ticker
drain,
symbol?
Most likely, but I went ahead and did it.
FaZe.
I also wanted to say I owned a part of them, so I can freely talk shit about them without feeling guilty.
Yeah, like, you know what? I'll do that too, and then that way people are like, "Well, you don't like them." I'll be like, "Excuse me, as a part owner."
Yeah, as part owner of FaZe,
I
feel like I have the right to speak my mind.
What is their ticker symbol? This is what I don't understand. I try to look this up, and normally it's like bam.
BRPM.
BRPM. Let's see.
Down.
Let's see where this is at right now. So it's $10.38. Did not have a good day. Has not had a good 5 days. Anuj.
I bought it at 11:02.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna get in tomorrow at 10:38, and I will.
Or maybe lower.
I will phase up with you. Man, can we make T-shirts that say part owners? Like I own FaZe Clan.
Well. Yeah.
All right. Anyways, that's it. That's all we got for you. Episode 362 of the Center Ring Esports Podcast. It's done. It's in the books. Thank you so much for listening. If you skipped around or listened to the whole thing, love you all the same. Follow us on Twitter at the Center Ring. Join our Discord. Go to phillyesports.gg. Sign up for all their upcoming events. It's all completely free, but you win money. It's a win-win.
Congrats to our Atlanta listeners. Looks like you're about to win the World Series here in just a minute. So
I'll be a catastrophic failure in the 9th. You will be a World Series winner. Thank you for beating Houston.
Yes,
Sincerely,
that's the main
everyone.
thing. Yeah.
So good on you. Good on you. We will be back next week, probably Monday. We'll see. I don't know the football schedule. Did they bump Lions to Monday night? Are Lions playing
Did
Monday?
they bump the Lions to Monday night? I'm sorry.
Maybe. So either way, we will have a show next week, but you just got to be in Discord and follow us on Twitter to officially know when we go live and all that. At the center ring. So until next time, for Anuj, I'm Tim. Love you. See ya. Bye. Cowboys are playing noon on Sunday.
Yeah, playing Denver.
No way that. Where at? Here. They're not gonna like. What's Denver's record this year? 4-4.
3-4.
4-4.
Oh, 4-4. But they like just traded Von Miller. They've lost their last like 4 out of their last 5 games or something.
Man, surprised they don't bump Cowboys to Sunday night or something just because they're 6-1.
Who's got the Sunday night game? I mean, shit. They just let the fucking Chiefs and Giants play on Monday night, so.
Man, Chiefs are terrible. I don't know what happened. Mahomes doing too many commercials or something.
When are you trying to go to this Grapevine thing? Because I'm going to have a hard time. Kelly works Friday, Sunday. So if I go on one of those days, I have to bring Hudson.
Yeah.
And then Saturday is the volley. So I'm going to be busy all day Saturday.
I mean, I really don't know. I was just going to ask if just pick an hour and we'll go up there for an hour.
Maybe like do it Sunday with Hudson or something.
I mean, that's fine. Like I said, like literally just go up there.
Like say what's up.
Yeah.
Like if I went with him, I would be more in and out over there. Just go check it out, see what.
And that's kind of what I was planning on doing.
Yeah.
I'm gonna kill the stream. Love your faces, anyone who's watching
in there.